In the heart of Appalachia, there are 3 counties in Tennessee, Anderson, Morgan, and Roane, that have over 14,000 residents that are low income and uninsured. They have no health care. This causes them to live in fear each and every day of becoming sick or hurt with no way to pay for it. Sad enough, most of these families have to choose between putting food on their table or going to the doctor. But the Free Medical Clinic is here to change that. The Free Medical Clinic, at one of the 4 locations in Oak Ridge, Harriman, Briceville, and our mobile unit, provides everything any other primary clinic provides, and even a little more, all at no charge. That's the help and hope we provide, and the problem we are solving for these 14,000 neighbors. A no-charge medical solution. A life with no fear of becoming sick, but you know it's not free. It costs us $125 for each patient we serve to provide over $600 worth of care. For every dollar you donate to help your neighbor, we turn that into $5 in value of care for a 500% return on your investment. How can you do that? Well, we have compassionate medical volunteers and community partners that help us stretch every dollar, so more people can get this help they need. You can be part of that help. You can provide hope to the next person in need. Will you? You see, that's the thing about people living around here. We help our own. Our own community members are in need, and it's up to us to help them. Yes, deep in the heart of Appalachia are people living in fear because they have unmet medical needs, but this is also where you find people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and lend a helping hand to those who are struggling, or give a few dollars to help neighbors get back on their feet again. It's just the kind of people we are. So let's put an end to the needless fear many of our families are facing by going to fmcor.org and giving help today.
Welcome to Between the Lines, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Anderson, Roane, wherever you're watching, Facebook around the world. We're glad you're here. As you saw from my introductory video, that we're going to talk tonight about one of the best opportunities to help the community that we have, no matter red, blue, religious, not whatever. Everybody deserves a chance at health care. Children, adults, everybody. And Free Medical Clinic is filling a gap that nobody else is filling, and they're doing it more and more every year thanks to you. And we need to stay with it. We need to support them. And tonight we're going to talk to some people that are directly involved in the medical help, and then we're going to talk about the administration a little bit. And there's a lot of charities out there, very few hit the spot with everybody like this one does. And welcome, everybody. We have 3 guests to start. I'm going to start with Kate because I grew up in the neighborhood with Kate. And Kate, you can pass it on around. Kate, go ahead.
All right, I'm Kate Hull. I'm the Director of Nursing for the Free Medical Clinic. And with me is one of our medical providers. He's a GI specialist, and this is Dr. Luckman. And next to him is one of our new admins, Ellen Cook. She has just joined our team over the past few weeks.
And Ellen, we'll get a chance to talk more about her personal experience as we go through this first segment of the show. I've known Dr. Luckman for 30 years, and very few people have been more active in the community than Dr. Luckman has in helping people and doing things and volunteering, serving on more boards than he probably wanted to, and just helped so many people. And Kate comes from a wonderful family. Her mother was the principal at Woodland for how many years?
17. Yeah. It seemed like forever.
Yeah, and her older sister, you may remember Jenny, served on the school board. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Sam, I love Sam. Sam was here, grew up, played ball, did a lot of things. Sam was smart. Very smart family. Mom did a great job and wonderful. And she's giving back and she's doing a lot. So everybody's involved. And we're going to find out. Tell me a little bit, guys, about. I walk through the doors. I come in. I'm sick. I work at McDonald's. I make $11 an hour. And I just don't have any insurance. I can go to the hospital and get a free checkout and get out of there. We can continue that revolving door in a sense. But what do I do? How do you help me if I'm sick? Say I've got the flu or I've got a virus. And we'll talk about COVID for a brief second later, how y'all dealt with that crisis. But give me an idea about how you all help. Who qualifies? Just give me an overview and I'll let you all talk.
So to become a patient with the Free Medical Clinic, you have to qualify based on 3 criteria, 3 primary criteria. Mm-hmm. It's location. So if you live in Anderson, Roane, or Morgan County, you are not to have any insurance. So we serve the uninsured, And then also if you fall within 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. If you meet that criteria, which we have 14,000 within those communities that meet that criteria, then you can become our patient. We have people fill out a new patient packet, and then we go about trying to assign them to a primary care provider. We are a primary care clinic. We offer so many other services, but our true agenda is to provide primary care to the uninsured who fall within that poverty level and live within those counties. We'll get them signed up with a provider. Our providers are primarily volunteers. These are MDs and nurse practitioners and PAs who want to give back to the communities some way, and so they continue their medical practice as volunteers and they take on our patient load. Once we do that, then we start working with patients as if they were in any other primary care clinic. And our executive director likes to say that we are going to offer the best in care, not just become a primary care clinic, but offer the best in care.
Okay, tell me, there's 3 locations, correct?
That's correct.
Explain the locations and the hours you're open. That's a very basic fact for people they need to understand.
All right, our locations are in Oak Ridge, in Harriman, and in Briceville. Our hours of operation for the Oak Ridge Clinic are Monday through Thursday from 8 until 4. We will see patients. Harriman is open Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from 8 to 4, and Briceville at this time is open on Tuesdays. We are also going to be starting something very exciting. We're going to have a mobile unit that will go even further into the rural areas. And that will be moving about 4 days a week, 8 to 4 also.
So Oak Ridge is located right behind Zagbee's on the Oak Ridge Turnpike, right across the street from the Chrysler place. So if you're back in that building, that's where you can find. Where are you located in Harriman, and where are you located in Briceville?
In Harriman, we're located fairly close to the Harriman High School, off of the main drag going into it. It's a really nice clinic. In Briceville, we are across from the elementary school.
That's easy.
Yeah.
So if you come up to the stop sign, the elementary school's over there. You turn left.
We're right across from the high school.
Right there on the
directly
corner
across.
where the stop sign is. So right in the heart of Briceville.
Yeah.
We're going to ask Dr. Luckman a question. Okay. Are there restrictions on what you can do and what the clinic can do, and how do doctors work? How does it all work?
The free clinic has several partners in the community, the main one being Methodist Medical Center and Covenant Health, where we can go ahead and do the lab or imaging or other studies that we need to confirm a diagnosis. In my case, we also have a hepatitis C clinic now.
Sure.
Hepatitis C really has been kind of a silent killer. And now that there is a cure, an absolute cure, as opposed to hepatitis B and other type forms of viral illnesses where you can suppress them, hepatitis C we can treat. And we offer all new patients at the free clinic opportunity to be screened for hepatitis C. And I think it was the first time we did that, we found, of 18 people or whatever it was, we found 2 or 3 that turned out to need treatment for hepatitis C.
Wow.
Hepatitis C, we have a partnership with a pharmaceutical company that provides us with Epclusa. It's a drug that we have yet to find someone who didn't respond and become hepatitis C negative. And it is a tremendous investment by the pharmaceutical company to provide this to the clients that we serve. And it's a real blessing. It really is.
I was talking to Kate before the show, and one thing I think is a misconception is that the quality of care is not the same. I think people think when they come in that this is for the poorest of the poor, and we already know from our talks that 2/3 or more, up to 80% of the people that come into your clinic are actually uninsured people with jobs, like whether it be McDonald's, Walmart, anywhere, actually. Because you talk about 200% of the federal poverty level, you're over $50,000 there. So if you're making less, depends if you have a family or not. But if you got a job and you're making $12 or $13 an hour, you're going to qualify if you don't have insurance. And a lot of companies have structured everything so they pay their people just enough hours not to have to provide them insurance and other things, and that puts them in a bad position, and they need health care. So I walk into your clinic, the free clinic, which can't say enough about, but I'm going to get as good a care, Dr. Ledman, and Kay, I'm going to get as I would if I walked into a family doctor.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, beyond the primary care where we're checking chronic illnesses or more immediate illnesses, we also do full labs there. So we've got a phlebotomy area. We make certain that we check off the types of tests and diagnostics that anybody needs depending on their age, whether it's a mammogram or some kind of a scan for their lungs if they're smokers. We also offer opportunities for a respiratory therapist for anyone who has sleep apnea. So we go out of our way to offer also optometry. We have an optometrist in town, Dr. Crump, who volunteers once a month, sees our patients. He does a vision exam. Then we have volunteer nurses that set the patient up for glasses. We get the glasses for free for our patients. So these types of things that most of us take for granted, if someone doesn't have insurance, it's very difficult for them to get those kind of services. So we offer everything that we can for our patients there in our clinics, understanding that they cannot get it anywhere else.
So let's take an example, this one, from a lot of guys my age. You walk in, you get a PSA, you get an annual exam, you check the blood work, comes back 3.9 or some number off the charts of 1.5. You got to refer them somewhere to a urologist or somebody. How does that work, Doc? What do you do?
There are most of the physicians that practice at Methodist Medical Center are open to seeing our patients. It usually takes a phone call or some other form of referral that we do, but if we don't have it available to us directly in the clinic, there are people that can provide oncology services, pulmonary services, and other key services. The main one that I obviously would refer to would be for someone that needed a gastrointestinal procedure like a colonoscopy or other things. And there's some paperwork that we have to go through and some other qualifications that they might need to meet, but they almost always do. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, it's where I get my health care, and I think it's wonderful that these people can get quality health care in the Rowan, Anderson, and Morgan County area through the free clinic.
Ellen, that brings us to you. What do you got to say about Free Medical Clinic? You just started working there, but tell us about your story. Take a couple minutes to tell us.
I didn't have any insurance, and I had already been using a CPAP with oxygen concentrator at night. And my insurance, I didn't have any insurance suddenly. I was probably between jobs, and I couldn't pay the rental on the oxygen concentrator.
Wow.
And I felt like I had to have it to live.
Sure.
I felt very helpless at that point, and my cousin told me that I could check with the Free Medical Clinic of Oak Ridge, and I went down there, and Sarah, one of the nurses, disappeared for a few minutes and came back with an oxygen concentrator, and she put it in my car.
Wow.
And I cried.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was absolutely amazed at this place because I couldn't find an oxygen concentrator online, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was just at a point where I thought, I'm going to have to turn in this oxygen concentrator, and I'm not going to be able to live without it. Luckily, I'm healthier now, and I've been able to donate back my oxygen concentrator to the Free Medical Clinic of Oak Ridge. So that was the beginning, and I've had several doctors, Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Haddon. She's a nurse practitioner, and I've also seen Dr. Berry, and I've had a lung scan. I've got glasses from Dr. Crump a couple of years ago, actually, 2 years ago, I think. And I have had better health care there than I had ever experienced anywhere else. I can't speak more highly of the Free Medical Clinic of Oak Ridge.
Tell us where you're from. Where do you live?
I'm from here.
You're from Oak Ridge?
I was born in Knoxville, moved to Oak Ridge in 1972.
Okay.
And graduated here. I lived in Florida for 15 years, and when I moved back 12 years ago, I have just, I substitute taught. I had lots of temporary work, full-time, generally $14 an hour or less.
Sure.
I've worked for less than minimum wage.
Right.
I'm ashamed to say, but I was trying to work. And I think I became complacent, and instead of looking for work for myself, I ended up going through temp companies and not getting a fulfilling type of job where I had benefits and health care. And today, Thanksgiving, will be my first paid holiday in 12 years.
Wow. Isn't that good?
I'm
That's
amazed.
great.
So in between jobs, I was volunteering at the Free Medical Clinic of Oak Ridge, and Kate came to me with an opportunity that they needed an admin for the mobile unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I cried just a little bit. I know you shouldn't cry in interviews, but I said, yes, I'll take the job. And then Billy, the director, contacted me and offered me the job officially. So I'm employed full-time. It's close to full-time. And I'm just delighted.
Yeah, and it starts with them providing you with a life-saving device that you couldn't have gotten any other way. So that's really...
I was really at a total loss.
Kate?
I think Ellen's story is so heartwarming because her provider, Dr. Reynolds, suggested that once she was in a position to have her own private insurance, to come and volunteer for us, and she immediately did. And I mean, that's just the giving back that really caught our eye. I'd also like to say that through the generosity of so many people in the communities that we serve, whether they give donations of money or donation of time by volunteering with us, they also provide a lot of equipment, a lot of the things that we need. And so we just see a lot of generosity and spirit for the people within our communities.
What kind of things can volunteers do? How can the average viewer out here in Anderson and Roane County and parts of Campbell, how can they make a difference?
Volunteering is at the heart of the Free Medical Clinic. That's how it started. Volunteer providers, volunteer nurses, volunteer admin, and we still expand with that. So if someone has been a nurse, they can come and volunteer with us. If they, have been some sort of provider, they can be a provider. But so many of our volunteers are admin volunteers, and there's many jobs that they can help us with. We are a nonprofit, and so in terms of staff numbers, it's pretty low. And so we do function with our volunteers. They can take on all roles within our clinics.
Is it, Dr. Lugman, is it one of those deals where you come in and you're doing so much volunteer work that all of a sudden you're doing more volunteer work than you're doing more volunteer work? I mean, somebody with your resources and your ability and capacity, I mean, knowing you in the practice all those years, you could be working around the clock helping people. I mean,
I came to Oak Ridge in 1977 and started the gastroenterology practice. Dr. Phil Ricks, who was my intern at Vanderbilt, and I convinced him that he needed to come join me the year later, which I immediately took 2 weeks off and took my kids to Disneyland. But no, it is a extremely fulfilling job to see people that need this help, that you can provide them with the same level of care that anybody else in the community would get for the same disease process. And as far as physicians, nurse practitioners that want to volunteer, I started volunteering when I was still in practice on my Friday off, twice a month I think it was to start with, and now I see patients every Tuesday and once a month for the hepatitis C clinic, but that really has become an extension of the Tuesday clinic too. But it's, anybody that can help with a medical service, whether they are in administration and want to help, whether they have a profession such as a nurse practitioner or physician of any kind, right. and would like to give some of their time. We certainly need more people that are willing to do that as the population that we serve grows and becomes aware of what we can do for them in terms of their health care.
How much awareness is there? I mean, you guys, I want a two-part question. One, okay, people are coming through your doors. Are more people in the community aware of it and are coming through your doors? You have an increased traffic flow, number one. And number two, are people sicker? Do we have more sick people today? Doc,
I would say yes and yes. I think the awareness is growing because of the work of our executive director. He has become pivotal in the expansion of our services and will continue to be. He got a grant for community health workers, so now we have individuals that are going out to different areas of the community that we weren't able to access before. We have a Hispanic community health worker, a rural community health worker, and then an African American community health worker, because these populations typically have unique issues and needs, and also different thoughts about the medical community and whether they've been served well with it. So we are really expanding in those areas.
Do we lack anything? I mean, we need one of those black machines that's 2 feet wide and 6 feet tall. Are we lacking equipment? Is there things we could use?
Oh, always things, because as we expand our services, the more that we can do within our own clinics, the better off we are. Because if we have to send some of these people out to get services somewhere else, we might lose them. There's a lot of different issues in their lives, social issues, transportation issues, financial issues. And so anything that we can do within the clinics is very beneficial.
Excellent. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and we're going to talk to some administrators and see what we can find out and how we can do more and try to help this wonderful organization. Brad?
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
DEPR.
Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale.
Bipolar?
Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment.
Anxiety. I thought so.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place and instead of what you came for, you found this? What would you do? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or Adult Protective Services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
Right now, all over Anderson, Morgan, and Roane County, low-income and uninsured neighbors can be with their family and friends without fear of becoming sick or injured, and that is because of people like you who donate to the free medical clinic and make no-charge primary care possible. When you visit fmcor.org on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, Give Tuesday, and help us reach our goal, you will be helping families get the care they need but can't afford. Give Tuesday, a day we unleash generosity to make sure our community members in our area can be home for the holidays without worry of how they can pay for the doctor. A special thank you to Pinnacle Financial Partners and Lados Printings for being this year's corporate sponsors. Go to fmcor.org and give today. On behalf of our patients, thank you for your kindness and compassion. Happy holidays.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. It's Thanksgiving night, and we're talking with the Free Medical Clinic, one of the great success stories in compassion and in community involvement, and you need to be involved on some level. I mean, we can debate whether this is this or that's that. Medicine for people that need medicine is not even debatable. Red, blue, north or south, it doesn't matter. So we need to get some help, and nobody's doing a better job in our area than Free Medical Clinic, and just the expansion has been incredible. But the need always outgrows the expansion. You know, that's the way it is. People are sick. I want to take 2 minutes, and I want to ask you guys, all three of you, how did COVID affect the organization? That's a big question, I know.
Do you want to
2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
I actually started in the executive director's job a week before COVID hit our community.
Back in
And so I was still trying to get to know people's names. It was back in end of February 2020.
Okay.
And most of our volunteers, as you've heard, Dr. Luckman, are the high-risk areas, 65 and older. So on week 2, I lost all of our volunteers.
Wow.
And so we had to pivot very quickly, which is not easy for an organization to do. And we had to pivot from a technology standpoint, because we had to shift from 100% of in-person care to 100% telehealth care. And the board was just incredibly helpful in making sure we took those steps. So we got computers and we modernized the clinic, and we were serving telehealth. And that was a big step. And we, you know, the thing with COVID, a couple of things. One is the regulations kept changing daily. You have to do this, you can't do that. Oh, you can do that, but you can't do this. So that was a big thing of trying to stay involved in it. But the other thing was, it did something amazing in the eyes of how people could understand our patients better. Because I don't know if you were like me, I had health care.
Sure.
But what if I got COVID? It didn't matter if I had health care or not. So I had a fear in my heart. What if I get COVID? I remember going to Kroger's across the street here looking for over-the-counter medicines for my parents, and it was empty. I thought, what am I going to do for my parents? Right. And for the first time, the general public understood what our patients live with every single day. That is the fear, if I get sick or injured, what am I going to do? And so it did 2 things. One, we really had to make a decision. The board made a great platform for us to say, are we going to go under because of COVID, or can we take a step forward in our community because of COVID? And that's what we did. We took a strong, bold step forward. Good. We did something the clinic had never done, and that is serve people that were not low income or uninsured, because everyone needed a vaccine. And we hosted 76 COVID-19 community vaccines throughout our community, thousands of vaccinations and testings.
You know, I've had shows on vaccines, I've had shows on different things. I've left it alone the last 2 years. I've had my wife, who is considerably younger than me, had a reaction. Now, you don't know if it's the virus or the vaccine or what it is. And she's gone to Vanderbilt. She's been back and forth. And there was just 1 out of 100 people. And let's be fair, that's what vaccines do. It attacks the majority, and 5% pay the price. It was the same with polio and everything else. But, you know, in nerve damage here, this and that, and then finally you go through all the different medicines, you end up with prednisone, and it fixes it. Should have done it from the beginning, probably kind of thing. But yeah, that was a really tricky time.
That's tough.
And it was tough. And people were on all sides of the issues. I was not a masker. I mean, I'm a common sense masker. If you're 70 years old and you got internal issues, you got to wear a mask. But I wasn't for masking children. I was for kind of had more of a herd mentality. But I accept both sides. I understand where the debate was. But I can imagine in a clinic like yours, it would cause a disruption when you're barely making volunteer levels, a disruption in being able to provide adequate services. Let's see what the board says.
We were not immune to some of those things. We had people on staff and that were volunteering that had the same positions you did and the opposite positions, and we had to navigate.
And mine was
that
just
like
a guess.
anybody.
Mine was a subjective guess. I wasn't claiming.
Well, what was interesting. You had medical experts saying one thing on one end and on the other end, and what we simply did is we defaulted to the state medical board of what we needed to do as a clinic, and we lived there, and that's been tough to navigate for sure.
Tell me about the board of directors, Mr. Wetzel. Tell me.
Board of directors, there's 14 directors in total.
That's a lot.
We have a wide variety. We have physicians that serve on the board. We have nursing staff that serves on the board. We have pharmacists that serve on the board. We have community leaders. We have educators. We have retired HR professionals. Just have a broad, really broad base of experience there that the board can pull from.
What drew you in?
I was asked to serve on the board by Ray Smith and Carol Smallridge.
Okay,
and,
two great people there.
And if you know it, either one of them, if they ask you to do something, you don't.
Especially Carol.
Yeah, with Carol, and in fact, I told Carol this here a few months ago. I said, when Carol asks you to do something, you can't give the standard answer. Well, I'm too busy.
No.
Because she is by far the busiest person around.
Yeah, she's involved in so much. There's so much for our community. She's another treasure.
She's fantastic. She really is. And she served on our board for 6 years.
And I love Bob. I mean, Bob has stayed involved in government and done stuff, and he's been, I can tell you that it doesn't matter what side of a local issue you're on, everybody likes Bob. Phil Yeager, Yeager gets the same respect. I really like him. He's new. He's been here 5 or 6 years, but he's a smart cookie. I mean, I don't know if y'all know him very well, but he's really great. Him and his wife's very active too, et cetera, et cetera. So what are the challenges? Tell me you've written grants. Somebody told me you've gone from $300,000 5 or 6 years ago to over $1 million now in annual. That gives you a lot more room to do more work.
The year before I arrived, we brought in, I think, $299,000. The budget was around $400,000.
$400,000.
And this coming year, our budget will be around $1.3 million.
Wow.
So we've grown quite a bit, and that has become because the grants are there. And COVID-19 offered us some funding that we would not normally get. And so the key was, how do we leverage that to get to the next level? Yeah. And the board has been wonderful about understanding the design of that funding. And so that's how we've grown. And we've grown from a staff of 5 to 15, and it's been a broad staff now, but we still got ways to go. You said challenges we face. We have a whole, a medical director. We're beginning to look for that and think through how we can lift the quality of care from a continuity standpoint of all of our clinics. So we're looking at going to the next level as far. What has been great is this. We no longer are just a clinic site, but now with the mobile clinic, we can go into our communities. We want community engagement. We want to build that trust among the community.
Good. I mean, they won't come to you, but you can go to them.
That's right, to have both. Yeah. And that's going to be the dynamic. How do we build those medical events? Because in February of next year, and I didn't know this, but Remote Air Medical, which I'm sure you're familiar with, they've never been to Oak Ridge. Huh. And so February the 18th and 19th, Roane State Community College and the Oak Ridge campus has agreed to host us, and we're bringing Remote Air Medical for free primary care, mental health, dental, and vision.
It seems you could tap those programs for interns like we did, like student government, like you get a semester out of a student, you get credit, they do some kind of co-op stuff. You ought to be able to, I mean, Pellissippi and Roane State for that.
We do. We serve as a clinical site for nursing
that's right.
organizations like Tennessee Wesleyan, Lincoln Memorial. We do TCAT. We do Roane State. So we do clinical sites for their nursing students.
Yeah, and I go to Oak Ridge Pharmacy and saw that, and every time I go through, there's a different UT intern, and he's a master bringing those pharmacy interns in, and they're all nice people, and they're learning the business. So I just think that's a resource. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about what you need, what you're doing. Just give me an overview, because I'm interested.
Yeah, well, we have needs as far as, we're building an army of volunteers to come and give back to community like Kate has shared. So if you're a medical professional, if you're a non-medical professional, people don't think that they can volunteer for a clinic if they don't know anything about medicine, but you can. You can help with admins, and we can actually have people work from home. We have internet phone systems where people can answer the phone from their home, so we've broadened that quite a bit. But also with funding, they were talking earlier about the Hep C program. Most people don't know this, but the medication he mentioned a moment ago is now on the market for a 3-month treatment. It's cost $70,000. And if you had insurance, you're still paying tens of thousands of dollars to get that cure.
Sure.
So what does that mean for us? If someone donated $250, they would be able to give a cure to a Hep C patient, because we have to pay $250 to get a Hep B testing in our lab, and that's all we have to pay for. Everything else we've been able to give.
How big a problem is hepatitis?
It's an epidemic.
It is.
Especially in this area.
Yeah.
You want to share
Why
some
is
more,
it an
Kate?
epidemic? Sorry.
Hep C is transferred through blood,
understand.
and there's many ways that people can become infected with Hep C.
Sure.
But this area, this rural area, it seems to have a high Hep C positive population. Our clinics.
Doesn't it stay hidden for a long time?
It can.
Okay.
It can stay hidden.
So you're transmittable, so.
Yes, you are. You are absolutely transmittable. So it tends to be a virus that later on people will start suffering the consequences for it. Our program at the Free Medical Clinic is really the only one in the state that offers from the initial antibody testing to the cure. So we go through the entire process of identifying someone who's positive for antibodies, confirming that, getting them set up with Dr. Luckman, and then going through the pharmaceutical part of the treatment and the continuation of care. So it's a premier program. It's a very unique, well-run program, and we're very proud
Would
of
we
it.
call it a prototype program, or would we just say
Yes,
it's unique?
it is a
It's got
prototype.
some new stuff in it?
Yeah.
because for years, forever, there's been no cure.
Right.
And that causes people to live in fear of around their family and their friends. What if I give that accidentally to someone I love?
Yeah.
And so to know that they can be cured in 12 weeks, basically, that's the treatment length.
So
It's amazing.
I've been very blessed not to have anybody in my family have that over the years, but C is more dangerous than B.
I wouldn't, they're
Different,
all fairly,
different.
yes, they're all different. They'll all attack the liver.
Yeah, I knew it's the liver, yeah.
Yes, and so they're all something that can either, you can receive a vaccine for or a cure for. The problem is that so many people don't know they have it, and getting the testing, finding
Damage
the
is done,
facility.
yeah.
Yes.
How does it manifest itself in liver enzymes are up,
Yep.
things of that nature?
Yes.
There's so many things that cause, drinking, there's so many things that cause liver enzymes to go up. But
Right. But with Hep C, it's attacking the liver, and then any of the other things that can cause the liver enzymes to go up, it's just that
combination.
Yeah.
It gets worse quick.
We got Give Tuesday next Tuesday, Tuesday after Thanksgiving. We have such a generous community around Anderson, Morgan, and Roane, and that's a way people can have an immediate impact. And for every dollar people give, because of our volunteers, because of our partnerships, we can turn $1 into $5. So our goal is to raise $24,000 in 24 hours. That helps 320 families have primary care. And
now, how are you going to do that? Telethon, call them?
It's mainly social media, mainly
Okay.
just
I got
online
you.
communication, getting the word out that people can give. Two of our great sponsors, Pinnacle Financial Partners and Leidos, are corporate sponsors of that, so they're going to match up to a certain amount.
Right.
And if people want to have an immediate impact, that's the way to do it. It costs us $125 to take care of one patient.
Yeah.
So when they come through the door, it costs us an average of $125. They never get a bill. So when they're checking out,
Nobody ever pays.
Nobody
You don't
ever
take a
pays.
dollar
Not
for anything,
Never had
right?
a penny for anything. And
That's a good policy.
Isn't that incredible? And they get on average $600 worth of medical care back when they come.
Because it would cause confusion if you pay for something you don't for anything else, and people are going to say, well, they charge for something. But to say, when you have it free in your name, it kind of...
That's it. You're locked in.
That's it. Well, we like that. You can donate, though. I mean, if you come there and...
We have patients that do.
We do.
When they check out, we say, today there's no charge for your care. Someone cared enough about you to pay for your care, but if you want to make a donation for someone else, and they do. They'll give $5 here and there, and that goes a long way. That's very sacrificial giving, because when they give some money, it's tough.
So this 24-hour, and I'm interested in this, this 24 hours is the 29th?
29th of November on Give Tuesday. It's always the Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
What do we call it, Give Tuesday?
That's it. That's why.
Give Tuesday.
So this is your Give Tuesday. It's not, you're not jumping into another promotion. You're just,
Well, it's a national nonprofit campaign that every individual nonprofit can do, or they can join others. And
Kate's taking the copyright on the Give Tuesday. It is what it is, right? That's where we're at. So you kind of get everybody excited, and you start, and they give, and you got some match partners. You're going to get to 24,000.
We're going to get it.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, it is. There are a lot of organizations that if their employees donate money, the organization will match it. And so for
With
people...
corporate people, we can tell you it's the last cash that matters. You get all your budget together, and you get your structure, and you're making 4% net, and every dollar you can contribute in there grows that little bit. And it's the same thing. You've got grants, you've got obligations, you've specified line items. Then you get some free cash in there, and you can make that work in a whole lot of different directions.
Yeah.
What are your needs? Let's talk about needs real quick before we go to break.
Kate, why don't you share what people can
Hey, what
actually
do you want?
donate? Yeah, if people want to donate and drop stuff off.
Right. So we take a lot of equipment donations. People might come in with CPAP equipment, from somebody that had sleep apnea and they no longer need the equipment, so they'll
smart,
donate the equipment. We have a respiratory therapist that takes us through the process of getting that sanitized and cleaned. Orthotic devices, back braces, knee braces, ankle braces. Again, we have patients that come in that have those needs, and we'd like to be able to provide that to them as they're walking out the door. One of our big needs is oxygen concentrators.
I was just going to say, that could be Ellen's story right there.
Yes, that's a big need, and that was especially a big need during COVID when people were hospitalized, came out of the hospital, and they had needs for oxygen, nebulizers, just basic type of medical equipment. We take that in, and we definitely use it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add before we go to break?
Go to fmcor.org. Find out how you can give.
Okay.
Volunteer. And
they got free medical clinic.
Yeah.
You got to help me here.
Yeah.
We're from the hood, Free medical clinic.
Oak Ridge.
Oak Ridge. I'll spell it out.
Mm-hmm.
FMCOakridge.org.
And you'll find out more. Can you give online right there?
Sure, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Any kind.
We have a wonderful website.
Venmo?
You can find everything. You can become a volunteer by going online. You can donate by going online.
Be a patient.
Yeah, be a patient by going online.
How do you do that?
They fill out a quick form, and it goes directly to our admins, and they do follow-up and set the first appointment.
They'll make a phone call. They'll get the person in, fill out the paperwork. We get them assigned to a provider, and we take it from there.
Sounds good. Chandler, we're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we're going to come back and finish up and talk 10 or 15 more minutes on free medical clinic.
Right now, all over Anderson, Morgan, and Roane County, low-income and uninsured neighbors can be with their family and friends without fear of becoming sick or injured, and that is because of people like you who donate to the free medical clinic and make no-charge primary care possible. When you visit fmcor.org on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, Give Tuesday, and help us reach our goal. You will be helping families get the care they need but can't afford. Give Tuesday, a day we unleash generosity to make sure our community members in our area can be home for the holidays without worry of how they can pay for the doctor. A special thank you to Pinnacle Financial Partners and Lados Printings for being this year's corporate sponsors. Go to fmcor.org and give today. On behalf of our patients, thank you for your kindness and compassion. Happy holidays.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
This is my husband, Alex Hussey. Alex was about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was point man in foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
To watch Alex take on this mountain, that's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or Adult Protective Services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
Once again, happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody's with family and enjoying themselves. We're going to talk in this final segment of just incredible information that we're getting on the free medical clinic. And I think everybody's probably a little bit surprised on how much they do, the referrals. And I'm very, in my business, I'm very critical of, and analysis critical, not negative critical, of how things operate and what they do. And they've just got this down really well. And look, there is a whole lot of people. You go through McDonald's, you go to IHOP, you go over to Walmart and buy something. By the time you're done, you could have seen a half a dozen people who have no insurance. And that's where it's at. The poor working classes. Don't get the image that people are walking off the street, they don't have a job, they don't care, they're trying. This is a completely different world. This is where people are trying to, and even those, everybody deserves medical care in my opinion, but these working people who are trying to work. Ellen said something interesting. She said, I almost apologized, I never made more than $14 an hour. I almost jumped in there and said, you have nothing to apologize for.
That's right.
You worked, you did what you needed to do, and you provide a service to the community in whatever you did, but that's the kind of, I don't know what it is.
That's our patients. Our patients are hard workers. Some of them have 2 or 3 jobs. They just, if they get sick, they have to make a choice. Do I put food on my table and go to work, or do I go to the doctor? And that's the fear that they live in, and we're solving that fear. They don't have to choose anymore. They can have both. And most, as you know, our patients who come through have been declined TennCare because they made too much money.
Yeah.
Well, then they don't make enough money to get health insurance. And emergency rooms were not built for primary care. We are saving the hospitals tens of thousands of dollars by people coming into the emergency room with just a sinus infection.
That's right.
One of the big things you talked about, we talked about COVID. Yeah, we talked about COVID the other day. The hospitals were overran by COVID, and we wanted to make sure not only did we get out vaccinations and testings to our community, but we alleviated the hospital to focus in on the things that they needed to focus on, and we could help with the things that we needed to. You don't really go to the emergency room for primary care. You don't really come to primary care for emergencies. I can't tell you the
times. But if you have no other solution,
if you have, absolutely,
you're going to run down there and check to see what's wrong with you.
That's right.
I mean,
and Covenant's been great to not only be a partner, and they probably, on average, I would say, help us between and invest back in the community between $60,000 and $70,000 a month in lab work. So they are a huge partner of ours. We just love them. They are just awesome. But we also work together to alleviate the emergency rooms, because that's something that we have. It's actually our contribution back to the medical world. This is our area.
Makes sense.
Plug in.
It makes sense. I'm saying logically it makes sense. The only question about that would be if I get sick at 9 o'clock at night, I'm going to the emergency room.
Correct, but if you did not have insurance, what then happens is Covenant then gets these patients into our doors. They
actually refer back?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's
yes.
great. I didn't realize that.
So they'll identify people within these communities that need our services.
Do they give you the name, or do they refer that person to go down to see
both?
You?
Both.
Kate was quick on that one.
No, it's true. But
she works with them every day.
Yeah.
I know she does.
She's
That's the valuable person. That's the person you want to know about.
Yeah.
And so then that patient comes to us, and they'll be assigned a primary care provider. And some of these volunteer providers are the top-notch medical providers in our community. Dr. Jim Henry has served as our medical director. He has, what'd you say, Billy? 30 years of ER experience. And
they pay those people more money for a reason. My buddies that are in the ER make more money than my buddies that aren't, but they don't last. They can't. They burn out in 8-10 years.
Yeah. We've got our clinical directors or managers, Gary Bickford and Dale Haddon, and now we have a new mobile director or nurse practitioner, Matthew Doan. These are wonderful providers, and this is who our patients get to see. But beyond just primary care, we also have specialty care. So Dr. Luckman is an example of that with the GI issues. We've got Dr. Barry and then Jim Michael, both cardiologists, retired cardiologists.
Dr. Reed.
Dr. Reed, an orthopedic surgeon, he retired and then immediately became a volunteer for us.
Right.
So our patients get to see not just primary
It makes
care.
sense, though.
Yeah.
You go into medicine for a reason, and then
Right.
when you're done, you've benefited probably financially and personally from rewarding, and you want to give something back.
It's almost the real reason they started to begin with.
It is.
To help people.
Yeah.
And because of all the red tape and all the stuff they have to deal with, that compassion, it doesn't really get lost, but it almost gets crowded out. And when they retire, their compassion has always been there.
Yeah.
And so then it's easy for them to get back to the community. They're just invaluable.
And the same with our nurses.
And you know, Dr. John Oxher, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, he passed in August of 2020. He actually started the Free Medical Clinic, him and his wife, Mary Lou Oxher.
Good for
He
them.
lived in Appalachia, Kentucky. He
Right.
grew up in poverty. He became an incredible physicist at the ORNL and nationally started being an educator to physicists across the board. He said, why are people in Oak Ridge who can't afford medical care, what do they do? And he started the Free Medical Clinic back in 2009. And his legacy just continues to be carried on. And we're just honored to be a part of it.
And if you haven't, and I did it in college in the late 70s, and in other words, did a lot of work with Appalachia. If you've never worked in Appalachia, you don't have appreciation for it. I mean, you have appreciation for helping people. And New River, in some of those communities, have a little bit of that southern flavor. But when you get up into Clairfield and you get up into southern Kentucky, it's a different world.
It is.
I mean, I did a lot of work up there with people, and in those days, we just had a few clinics and a few people and a nurse and, and 10 roofs. And it waited on everybody, but it was tough. I mean, it was just really hard.
It's hard life.
And what you're doing, and they're doing it on a much larger scale than these mission workers were, but I think it's great. And to have someone like you is a blessing, because you've been nursing. And let's face it, nurses are the engine room. I mean, doctors are great, but
Katie has been invaluable.
Well, I go in, I want to see the
She's
nurse.
brought such a great compassion and competence across the board of all of our clinics. And having Karen Wilkin on our volunteer team. Share a little bit about Karen. Karen is just incredible, really a hero, I think, in the
I don't
nursing
even
world.
know where to begin with Karen. She's my mentor. She brought me on board, so I can't say enough.
Late 60s, maybe? Early 70s?
She's 70, so she served as a nurse. She also taught nursing at Roane State, and then she became a nurse manager at Methodist, and then ever since she retired has been volunteering in nursing, and now basically trains and helps me coordinate with the nurse volunteers.
She was a big help during COVID vaccinations, and she had a really awesome story, and that her great-grandmother was a part of the pandemic that hit us back in 1917, 1819. And so she had pictures of her grandmother serving a pandemic then.
Wow.
And then she told her story about her doing COVID-19.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
It is a great story.
Especially if you got pictures, that helps.
Well, pictures do help.
They do help. I know Karen Wilkin. She's got a hyphenated name, though. Works at St. Mary's, so it helps out down there. I don't know, probably a different person. Real tall?
No.
Okay, wrong one. She says something else, but she's a professional. She does volunteer work, and you don't find too many people with that name that do volunteer work all the time. How often does the board meet?
Board meets every other month.
Okay.
We have also the subcommittees meet on alternating months. So you have a finance committee, you have the medical committee, you have a nominating committee, which is constantly looking for more volunteer board members.
Sure.
Those folks are meeting on the off months, and then the board meets every other month.
Good for you.
So great group of people. Karen Wilkin, speaking of Karen, not only did she volunteer in the clinics for years and years, she also served on the board and was our vice president for a number of years.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So if people want to donate stuff, you talked about low-cost items. Are there targeted items? Is there something in that clinic you've never gotten that you'd like to have? Ever. You can't get it. You can't afford it. It doesn't fit in. Billy won't put it in his budget.
Could you bring me in a new
Billy
EKG
won't put it in his
machine?
budget.
That's what you're talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about.
What?
New EKG machine.
We've got one budget, but
What-
people can
what
give
is
that.
AKG?
It costs
What do they run,
about
about
$4,500.
Oh, really?
You can get a used one for about $3,500, but if someone
No, but there it is, $4,500. You go out and
Yeah.
market that. You go out and
We'll have to have a mobile one for our mobile
Right.
clinic. We want to stock the mobile clinic as it would be at any of our other clinics, so that if somebody is being seen on the mobile unit, they should be able to get phlebotomy. If they need an EKG, we should be able to perform it there. So we want them to get the same type of care that they would get
Are they
in one
portable?
Yeah.
You want one for the portable bus?
Yeah, I do.
I think that's what you were getting at. I didn't know.
We get it pretty soon, so we're going to have to start stocking it.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time.
I may get after that. I may look at that and see if I can do it. But I'm not going to mess with Tuesday. If I call somebody. First thing you need to do on Tuesday is call every board member. That's the first rule on raising money. You call every board member and say, we know you want to weigh in, set an example. So you get 14 contributions out of the gate.
Yeah, our board's been great.
They are. I'm not trying to pick
We
on
did
them.
a special
That's a big
fundraiser.
board.
Now,
That's a lot
you've
of
come to the Bash, right?
Yes.
You've been to the Bash some.
Yes.
As you know, this past
Great
year,
job.
the Bash, we raised our record amount over $100,000 in one night,
That's
which is
fantastic.
great. But our board was key to that. Our board was engaged.
I tell
They
you,
were
got
there.
no better ambassador than Mayor Warren Gooch. I mean, he wears me out on this stuff. You got to
He
go.
and his
You
wife
bought
are great.
your ticket yet?
You know, his wife helps with Ukrainian refugees, and we've
Yeah.
actually served them at our clinic, so we help them quite
Well,
a bit.
Judy's a saint. I'm just trying to give Warren a little credit. You know, saints don't need credit, but Warren needs a little credit every now and then. But they do a lot for the
mayor's
community.
been a great champion of
He
the whole
has. He
community.
loves this thing. I mean, he loves it. There's some other people, too, that really like it. Not really like it, but really are invested in it, is what I'm trying to say in that sense, et cetera. So, what would you change? What do we need to change? What do we need to do? Let's get outside the box for a second.
Probably, as a community, we need to change our mentality that it's okay to get help if you need it. There's a stigmatism of mental health out there. That's one of the things that we're looking at.
We didn't really talk about mental health. That's a good issue.
And so there's a stigmatism out there that if I need help, I'm going to be embarrassed. We were even careful about what we put on the mobile clinic, so if someone came to get care, that they didn't feel shame because they needed it. And just that the community attitude of being engaged and saying, you know what, I can't fix everything, but I can donate a few hours. And just donating a few hours is not something that's small. It goes a long way.
That's correct.
And if I said so, we've got donors that give $5 a month. And you know what? It puts a smile on my face every time I see it come across my desk. I love to get the 1,000 and 1,500, but those people that say, you know what, I'm going to give what I can, and they're sacrificial.
But if you build an organization with the 50 guys giving 100, not the 5 guys giving 10,000.
That's
it just
right.
doesn't work that way. I mean, because somebody dies, somebody moves on to another thing, you've got to remember. You need broad-based support.
And to understand that if we're going to see our communities transform, it's going to take all of us. I mean, we can do our part, but we're connected to a larger group of nonprofits. We have great partnership with United Way of Anderson County, with Naomi, with Dr. Chris Whaley, who has an incredible heart for the community, for Roan State, and
Go
Teresa
Phil
Duncan, and Andrew Smith, and Friday night, the Free Medical Clinic Friday Night Scoreboard with BB Communications Channel 12. They have been doing tremendous getting the word out. Because if you can imagine this year we'll serve 7,500 patient appointments that equal to $4.5 million worth of value of care. But there's 14,000 people in our area that are qualified for a service. If they're not coming getting care for free, they don't know about us. So we've got to change that. We've got to
Put a
lift
plug
the
in
awareness.
for Brad. I guess it's been probably 7 years or 6 years since I did a survey for them because, obviously I'm in that business too, but I did a survey and Scoreboard was the second most watched show.
It's an incredible
Parades
show.
are
We're so
off
honored to be
the
a part of
chart.
that. It's
Parades are
great.
off the chart.
Brad Jones does an incredible job. I'm so excited that he's part of our
Well,
community.
that's volunteer work too, because I'm telling you, they work on us. I mean, being in the business and helping. I mean, it's he's constant just to break even in this business. I mean, newspapers are gone pretty much. I mean, it's all AP wire stuff, and we're trying to keep things alive to tell more community news. But no better story than this one.
Well, we thank you for highlighting us. And we want to wish you and your family today a happy Thanksgiving, and the people that are listening. We want to thank all of our donors and all of our volunteers and all of our staff, our board members, our partners. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's change the community together, and let's have fun.
Nobody needs to be sick. It's a very basic thing. As I was telling Kate earlier, when I'm in Washington working, I'll say, look, we all need to find a way to get to health care, no matter what side of the argument you're on. I mean, I understand it's got to work, providers got to be paid and everything, but there's got to be a way to get there. And I think hopefully we can find some solutions. You guys are certainly starting. And you guys fit all the dialogue. If you're not for public financing, you better be for private financing, so you better back up your political philosophies with that. How much time I got, Brad? Minute and a half. All right, Kate. You made the show. What are you going to follow up on? A new clinic in the next 5 years? Where would you put it?
I would say expanding our mobile units. I think that's going to be an exciting expansion for us so that we can do more outreach, reach the people that can't come to us. I think what people need to understand is, as a patient, when they walk in our doors, they will get exceptional medical care, exceptional community health care. our team is so compassionate. So people are treated with respect and compassion and understanding, and that's the feedback we get every time we work with somebody.
And 2 dates. Next Tuesday, Give Tuesday, and then February the 18th and 19th, if Remote Area Medical will be in Oak Ridge, and we need volunteers. Help check in, medical professionals. Go to our website, fmcor.org, and let's make it happen. Let's do it.
We'll do it. How much time you got? 15 seconds. There's my $250, Kate.
There you go.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much.
Well, you got to buy into what you preach, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. I wanted to make a donation. I hope everybody will on Christmas. We got to go, but thank you guys.